We're going to cover a lot of history, try to understand kind of what is happening in the Middle East, generations for many, many decades, and try to answer the problem, like what's the problem? How did we get where we got? Where is truth in all of that? And maybe to start it off, an example of something that if you just went and Googled map of Israel, most commonly on Google, that's what you will get. This kind of a map that shows the Palestinian loss of land. We'll talk about the genocide of the Palestinian people. It will talk about how Israel taking over the land of Palestine, this kind of thing. And usually you'll see this progression of landmass where the green is land belonging to Palestinians and how through time the Jews took over the land to where we are on the very right side. And I want to start with saying this. There's a lot of fake, false information out there. And I would say there are two main reasons why you would find this kind of information circled around. First, I would say a lot of people are really, really oblivious. And I think that every time that there is a time like this, time of crisis, time of war, I'm blown away by the level of obliviousness that the average American has, and unawareness of anything relating what is happening in this land. When I see how many Christians are just out of the loop whatsoever regarding the history of this land, and obviously so much of this history is found in our scriptures. So that's kind of a shocking thing to me, and I think that a lot of people just circle information around, not necessarily with bad intention, but because of complete obliviousness. The other side of it is that there's just a lot of people who are anti-Israel, a lot of people who are anti-Semitic, and they do that in purpose. They have an agenda. They try to change the narrative, they try to change the history, and they have a strong reason to do that has to mainly focus on our God, and we'll talk about that later. Those are the two main reasons why we have this being so popular, obliviousness and anti-Semitism. So let's try to see what is the accurate. So if this is inaccurate or that's the claim to start with, we're going to try to build a different picture historically, geographically, during our time together. This land that is very special to our people, found very, very early in the scriptures, but probably the first reference specifically that it is a promised land in Genesis chapter 12 and then 15, you have the Abrahamic covenant, and part of that covenant God makes with Abraham has a blessing of a land included in it. And the land, by the way, is much, much greater and bigger than anything that the state of Israel owns today or owned at any point of time in history. Abraham lives in 2000 BC. That's where this land originally is given to the people of Israel, and the covenant is repeated to Abraham's son Isaac. The covenant is repeated to Isaac's son Jacob, and in Genesis chapter 32, Jacob wrestles with God. So remember this story, Jacob wrestles with God, and after a whole night of wrestling, the Lord changes Jacob's name from Jacob to Israel. And from then on, the region where Jacob lives, the region that was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the covenant land, the promised land, is referred to as Israel, right around 2000 BC. Now we jump 1,000 years forward, and we're at 1000 BC, and this is the map that you have on this. This is the empire of King David, the king of Israel, the United Kingdom. You can see kind of in different times how the kingdom expanded and different in that. But the key to point out here is this land that Israel sits on today was the kingdom of Israel 3,000 years ago. Our great King David lived there, reigned there. His son Solomon lived there, reigned there. One more thing that is important to notice on this map is on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, that is on the west side, you will see that it says Philistia. And this is very important. This is a people group called the Philistines, who, while Israel was in Egypt as slave, the 400 years there, This people group came, crossed the Mediterranean. So you see the island of Cyprus, kind of west and north, and above that is Greece. And this people group come through the Mediterranean of Greek origin and land on the west shores, the Mediterranean shores of Israel, while the nation of Israel is in Egypt. And they take 5 cities. They build, I would say, 5 cities that exist to this day. Ekron, Ashkelon, Gath, you know who came from Gath, right? Goliath, right? The Ashdod and Gaza, the 5 Philistine cities that they build. But they are of Greek origin.